We're on the record.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. It is 8:07, 7 minutes after the hour. Today, Monday, May 10th, 2021. This meeting is being live streamed as well as recorded for storage and viewing on our district website. The public can participate during the hearing of individuals and delegates by submitting a written statement using the BOE questions form on our website or by signing up for a live audio public speaks through a form also available on our website. Adequate written notice of this meeting of the South Orange Neighborhood Board of Education has been sent to both village and township clerks, the Star Ledger, the News Record, tapintasoma.net, and thevillagetribune.com. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Okay, see you guys. Okay, Ms. Delgertia, please note that board member is having technical issues, but will be joining momentarily. That said, all other board members stated they would be in attendance this evening. And with that, will you please call the roll?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Board member Susan Bergen.
Here.
Board member Shannon Cuttle.
Here.
Student representative Lily Foreman.
Here.
Board member Thayer Joshua.
Here.
Board member Anne Marie Manny.
Here.
Board member Alyssa Malaspina.
Here.
Board member Erin Siders.
Here.
Board member Courtney Winkfield.
Here.
Board member Johanna Wright.
Here.
Okay. And board member Kamal Zubieta.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we get started, obviously a quick note that a few of us are here tonight. We are working on rolling out a hybrid model that where some of us will be here and some will be home. And we'll continue to do that over the next few meetings. Okay. Let me read through this statement real quickly.
Excuse me, President Joshua.
Oh, nope. I am reading it. The statement I'm going to read is about a motion for virtual meetings. See?
Okay. Sorry.
Due to the
I
current
apologize.
public health emergency. All in favor? That is aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Delgertia is unanimous. Okay, the school board meeting is a business meeting in public, not a meeting with the public. Oftentimes, it may appear to members of the audience that the Board of Ed takes action with very little comment, and in many cases, a unanimous vote. Before a matter is placed on the agenda at a public meeting, administration has thoroughly reviewed the matter with the superintendent. If the superintendent is satisfied with that the matter is ready to be presented to the Board of Education, it is then referred to appropriate board committee. Members of the board committee work with administration and superintendent to ensure that the members fully understand the matter. And after the committee discusses the matter, it is then presented to the full board for discussion before any action is taken. And only then is it placed for action at a public meeting. Okay, and with that, we have come to time for our first hearings and individuals and delegates, also known as public speaks. This is an opportunity time for you to share your concerns about an item on the agenda, but not a time for dialogue with the board. Mr. Bonds, can you send me the list, please?
Certainly, give me one moment.
Okay. While I wait for that list, before I give you a time commitment, I want to see how long it is before we move forward. So just bear with me 1 second, please. Thank you.
Okay, the PDF is on the way.
Mr. Bonds, was that the written comment? Do we have any live audio?
That's on the way as well.
Okay, thanks. All right, got it. Thank you. So let me go back to where I was. Apologies, everybody. We're now at the time for hearings of individuals and delegations known as public speaks. This is an opportunity for you to share your concerns about an item on the agenda, but it's not a time for dialogue with the board. The board requests that you state your name and the town of your residence for the record. We will set the time to 2 minutes for each speaker, and we ask that you respect that time limit. We must cut you off so it does not appear as if we are giving anyone an advantage to share their views over another individual. Speakers have the full protection of free speech during the public speaks. However, this forum does not protect you from the subject of your free speech pursuing libel or scandal charges. Finally, the board recommends that all members of our community pursue the chain of command. Our first audio public speaks is from Abigail Murtaugh.
Hi, this is Abigail Murtaugh from Maplewood. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. We have recently heard about the programming the district has put in place to address student learning loss. You have devoted many resources to bridging the academic gap. I am speaking tonight to ask the district to devote the same resources to creating equally robust programs to address the social and emotional gap our students are facing. Many students are not okay. They are suffering from anxiety and depression. They have lost loved ones. They have lost opportunities and milestones. They have not been able to fully process this massive upheaval in their lives. They are anxious about re-entering school spaces, about navigating friendships and disagreements. While some students are thrilled to be back in school, others are re-entering a space that has not been positive or nurturing for them. Our district must step in and help these students. I know the district has increased the number of social workers meeting with students this year, and that work is helping many, but it is only helping those who speak up, and all of our students could benefit greatly from the support of our social work professionals. I am asking you to use the expertise of the district social workers to develop specific, age-appropriate social-emotional curricula that can be delivered to students in the fall. Create programs that will give students the space and vocabulary to better understand and express what they're experiencing. Create a framework that classes can use throughout the year to do this work. Please do not just rely on social workers being available to those who reach out. Please do not just set aside time blocks in class schedules or distribute a list of generic topics for teachers to build upon. Please take the time over the next months. Use the resources you have to create a specific, scaffolded, robust social emotional program to help all our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next audio public speaks is from Carrie Donahue.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, Thank you. I would like to say to Dr. Taylor and the board, it is time to open our schools for full-time learning for all students 5 days a week. I did some research today and I learned that more than 3.5 million persons in New Jersey are fully vaccinated. Additionally, there were 813,516 people have received their first dose of the vaccine. We also know that more than 75% of the teachers in our district are vaccinated. High school students have been eligible for the vaccine for several weeks now, and today the vaccine was approved for children 12 and over. I've also learned that over 102% of persons aged 65 and older in South Orange have been vaccinated. And as expected, the number of people vaccinated rise, the number of new COVID cases has fallen. Today, there were 459 new cases reported in the whole state. There were 0 reported in South Orange today and 2 in Maplewood. Essex County as a whole has a change of negative 41 reported cases. Negative 41 reported cases. Vaccines work. With that framework in mind, we now must open the school to all the students, but especially to our middle and high school students 5 days a week, full time. We no longer have to wait and see. With the science and the data that has emerged over the last year, we know that the risk of becoming infected with COVID in the school setting is extremely low, and in fact is lower than the transmission rate in our communities. Dr. Taylor, you have acknowledged that there is no evidence that COVID is being transmitted in our schools. Please don't brush off these last 6 weeks of schools for the students. To them, these 6 weeks are everything. 6 weeks to really engage in their academics. 6 weeks for them to be with their teachers. 6 weeks to see their friends and to form new friendships. 6 weeks for them to return to health and normalcy. 6 weeks to recoup a small portion of everything that they lost this year. Dr. Taylor, I implore you, give our kids these 6 weeks. It will make all the difference to them. And the good news is that,
Thank you. Your time is up.
thank you.
We'll now shift over to submitted public speaks comments. Our first public speaks is from Heather Cross of Maplewood. Firstly, I want to thank everyone who has worked so hard this year to get our children back to school for in-person learning this year. Now that our community has reached the medium level on the risk matrix and cases continue to trend downward, we need to give kids in grades 6 through 12 more in-person learning opportunities. According to both the CDC and New Jersey guidelines, middle schoolers can be 3 feet apart in schools, which should allow all those who are attending in person to attend 5 days a week. Every additional day of in-person instruction for our kids is critical, and the district should do everything possible to maximize the number of in-person instructional hours for our students from now through the end of the year. Thank you. And that was Heather Cross of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Alicia Humphreys of Maplewood. Please confirm what model number of the older rocks machines are being used in the SOM schools. Please also confirm if they are on at all times or if they are used at certain times. I have huge concerns that ozone generator machines are being used as an air purifier, but in fact, they are damaging our children's lungs and putting our children at risk. Ozone generator machines should never be used indoors where humans are let alone with children. It is deeply troubling that older rocks machines are in our schools' bathrooms, hallways, and gyms, etc. And that was Alicia Humphreys from Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Allison Kopcha of South Orange. While we have been pleased with the reopening progress, there is still more that we should be doing, especially for our middle school and high school kids. The teachers have been vaccinated. Windows can remain open. 2 partial days is simply not enough. I finally saw a glimpse of my child again for the first time in 14 months. Like so many, he's fallen behind academically and emotionally. Our kids need your support. Again, that was Allison Kopcha of South Orange. Our next public speaks is from Anya Hoffman of Maplewood. My daughters are in the 8th grade at MMS and 4th grade at Clinton. They have both been thrilled to finally go back to school these past 2 weeks, but it's still just not enough time in school. Now that New Jersey Department of Health has rated the state and our region as being only moderate risk, we urge you to allow the middle school and high school kids to combine cohorts and go to school 5 days per week, and to allow the elementary school kids to have full 5 days a week. Our formerly school-loving kids have had little to no motivation while learning virtually, and the extended school time would be an enormous help, not only to get them back on track academically, but also for their social and emotional health. Thank you. And that was from Anya Hoffman of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Jessica Gertman of Maplewood. My son is a kindergartner and every day comes back energized by being in school. He was excited to actually see the gym this week. I can only look forward and forget about hindsight and what's happened. So I beg the powers that be that he have the opportunity to attend 5 full days a week. It will prepare him for what to anticipate in the first grade. Again, that was Jessica Gertman of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Jessica Kuskamp of South Orange. Time to get all kids back at school 5 days. Kids are done with remote. Kids are behind enough. Let's get them back to speed. And that's from Jessica Kuskamp of South Orange. Our next public speaks is from Izzy Gladstone of Maplewood. Can we expect 5 full days in September? I'm a parent of 2 elementary school age kids, and I would be very disappointed with the district if this wasn't possible. That was Izzy Gladstone of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Pete Paschal of South Orange. It's great that elementary school is back to 5 days a week, but I want to know what the district is doing to 1, extend the day to a full day, 2, allow the students to eat lunch at school, and 3, return to fully in-person instruction, no Chromebooks. Again, that was Pete Pascal of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Meredith Lambert of Maplewood. 2 questions. 1, why can't the middle schoolers be released for lunch and then allowed back for 7th and 8th periods? There are plenty of places for them to eat outdoors. MMS is a spit from town and from the park. And if a student chooses not to, then they can just do 7th and 8th virtual. But why can't the option be there? 2, would Maplewood Township have released a statement that we are now moderate and cases down? Can middle school cohorts be combined so that they go 5 days versus 2? Again, that was Meredith Lambert of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Jennifer Carlson of Maplewood. Thank you, Dr. Taylor and the board, for moving forward with the reopening plan for elementary schools. It's time to now do the same for middle and high schools. Case numbers are down, teachers are vaccinated. Give families the choice to send their teenagers to school 5 full days a week. It is not too late in the year. We have over 7 weeks remaining. 2 half days is not enough. For our family, virtual school is not school. It is silently staring at a computer screen. Let's follow our neighbors in Livingston and other surrounding towns and allow our teenagers back in real school. And that's from Jennifer Carlson of Maplewood. Our next public speaks, we spoke. Our next public speaks is from Leslie Enright of Maplewood. I am less concerned about children going back 5 days per week than them having substantive and engaging lessons while in school. The current model, whereby some teachers teach to the screens, is disengaging and uncreative. Teachers have had the technology, and they should be asked to use the technology creatively to teach to the students directly. I know some teachers are doing this already, and I cannot understand why others do not. The current model does not enhance learning, social skills, or any of the benefits of being in a physical classroom. And that was from Leslie Enright of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Heather Broshin of South Orange. I am writing to advocate for 5 days per week of school for middle and high school students in consideration of permitting them to leave campus to eat outside or return after lunch. The kids have lost out on so much. I have observed a dramatic improvement in their emotional health on the days that they are in person. These children need more and a return to a 5-day-a-week schedule and longer days. The high school students have had a half-day schedule for more than a year. It is ludicrous. They have lost the ability to sustain a full day of classwork, which will not serve them well in the future. Spring and mild temperatures, widely available vaccines, and a decrease in community spread provide this. Other districts within our county have middle and high school students attending daily. Schools with old buildings have middle and high school students attending daily. Communities with diverse populations have students attending daily. Every district is unique, but there is nothing specific about our district that makes it more vulnerable to COVID spread. Masking, hand hygiene, windows open. It is working. Let's do the work now and let our kids experience 6 weeks of full-time school. Let's not make the mistake of sitting back and riding this out. Let's continue the momentum and let our kids experience support and some normalcy in May and June. This will also help us work towards the fall. Our students deserve it. Every day, every hour of more in-person instruction results in a healthier student and school community. Nothing is 100% safe, but all the science and experts are stating that the risk of having more in-person instruction is tolerable and acceptable. Thank you. And that was, again, Heather Broshin of South Orange. Our next public speaks is from Kate Walker of South Orange. Dear Dr. Taylor and members of the board, I'm writing to request that you increase the hours and days that our children are currently in school. We thank you for the hard work that went into reopening in phases 3 and 4, which have been life-changing for the emotional, academic, and social well-being of the children of our district. However, it's time for more. Elementary school needs to be a full day. Even given the guidelines of 6 feet of distance during unmasked time, we need to find a way for our youngest learners to eat lunch in school and have a full day in person. If hundreds of school districts around our region are able to do this, surely we can find a way. The same goes for increasing the number of days that middle and high schoolers are at school. As the COVID numbers from a public health standpoint continue to move in the right direction, we need to drop the cohorts at SOMS, MMS, and CHS and get these children back into school 5 days a week. There are still 7 weeks left in the school year. We need you to move quickly towards a phase 5 reopening, as every hour counts at this late stage of the school year. Please move forward with these reopening plans as it's safe as possible and it's time. Thank you. Again, that was Kate Walker of South Orange. Our next public speaks is from Melanie Geiger of Maplewood. To all that have worked to transition the school district to phase 5, thank you. My 8th grader attended in-person school for the first time on April 26th. I observed more engagement in school and a lighter, more positive disposition immediately. My 6th grader has had several days in school prior to April, but the consistent in-person instruction is having a noted positive effect on him as well. Knowing that all grades are back to in-person instruction is a relief, but our work is not done. Spring and mild temperatures, widely available vaccines, and decreasing community spread provide opportunity to move to more in-person instruction for middle and high school students. Let's work towards having middle and high school schoolers to attend 5 days per week. Other districts within our county have middle and high school students attending daily. Schools and old buildings have middle and high school students attending daily. Communities with high diverse populations have students attending daily. I believe I've actually read all this from previous public speaks, so I'm going to skip this. And again, that was Melanie Geiger of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is Rebecca Shear from Maplewood. Even though the majority of our students are in the classroom, on days when the teacher is absent, classes are asynchronous. This is apparently due to the fact that subs are not trained to use Canvas since this modality is still being used in class. This is not okay. Asynchronous learning is in no way an appropriate alternative for virtual learning, much less in-person instruction. When my son has an asynchronous day, he completes his work in about 15 minutes. That's not nearly enough instruction or class time to count for a legally mandated day. And that was Rebecca Shear of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Alexa Rolfe of Maplewood. Thank you all for pushing to get us back to phase 5. I write to encourage you to keep going. Most of the state and the county are 3 steps ahead of us at this point. Anyone who wants a vaccine can get it, including many of our high schoolers. My 10th grader said he was more engaged in the 2 half days he had in person last week than he had been in a year. These kids need your leadership. I ask that we work towards 5 days of in-person instruction for our high schoolers over the next few weeks. This year is not done. Many thanks for your consideration. Again, that was Alexa Ralph of Maplewood. Our next public speaks is from Heather Hartzell of South Orange. Thank you for all the hard work. Thank you for all the work that has been done to open elementary school 5 mornings a week. The positive changes I have seen in my children's outlook on life are a balm after so many months of virtual school. However, given consistently falling rates of COVID infection in our communities and the widespread availability of vaccines, I believe there is no reason that children cannot be in school for full days. I also want to encourage the district to bring back middle and high school students for 5 full days of instruction as well. There is no justifiable reason not to do this. Please also continue to work towards 5 full in-person days for all students next academic year. Thank you. And that was Heather Hartzell from South Orange. Our next public speaks is from Michelle Reback from South Orange. With the NJDOH reporting that New Jersey is now at a moderate risk and in the yellow, it would be a perfect time to reevaluate in-person learning for middle and high school students, especially since our numbers continue to decline and the community spread is low. With more and more people being able to keep vaccinated, which includes 16 years and older, our numbers will continue to decline. Can you please advise if the district is working towards adding more days for these students? I'm specifically concerned with middle school as I have a 6th grader who would benefit from more in-person days. Social and emotional terror remote learning has brought to my child, and I'm sure many others in the district, are devastating. Many students are feeling a lot of anxiety about going back to school and being with their peers, not because they're worried about getting COVID, but because they have forgotten how to talk and be around other kids after being alone in their bedrooms during school. Middle school years are such a socially important time for these kids as they are learning and craving more independence, something that's not happening when they're behind a computer screen at home. Many districts across New Jersey have been back 5 days, whether it be half days or full days, for a while. But with the news of New Jersey now being moderate risk, and hopefully most teachers staff are now vaccinated, and hopefully more students are in the process of being vaccinated, I hope that you are having conversations with your counterparts across the area to see how they are making this work, and with the Board of Ed to work towards getting all of our kids back full time. There's no reason why, if other districts can be 5 full days, that we can't do this. Even 5 half days would be a win at this point. Why is Maplewood's Department of Health advising against lunch when other districts are allowing lunch as part of their full day? Livingston Public Schools are back full-time as of today, May 10th. Millburn Middle and High Schools are full days, still with cohorts, but alternate Fridays. They also have tents for a setup outside for lunch, with the auditorium and gym as backup. Can you also speak to what the district plans are for the fall? There should be nothing other than 5 full days. Our children deserve this. With only 6 weeks left of school, let's end on a high note and bring all the kids back. Thank you. Again, that was Michelle Reback of South Orange. Our next public speaks is from Katie Tkachuk of Maplewood. Thank you, Board of Ed, SOMSD, SOMEA, and any other acronyms that have gotten us to where we are today, which is with kids in school. As frustrating as this was as a parent, it was never lost on me how frustrating this has been for all involved. We are now stronger for it and very much aware of the high benefits of having kids in school and low risk of COVID transmission in schools. I feel like we have seen science, common sense, and sheer will overcome fear. We can't stop now. We need to have all K-5 kids in school for 5 full days and high school, middle school kids in school for 5 half days. Every school in our kids, every hour in our kids' education and well-being matters. And that was from Katie Tkachuk of Maplewood. And that concludes public speaks, our first public speaks. Dr. Taylor, care to respond?
To our board president, I see one more on the bottom. I'll just read it really quickly.
Oh, okay.
From Regina Edward. I am a parent of a kindergartner, and it has been truly amazing to see how much happier my daughter has been being in school 5 days. Her teachers noticed that she is much more engaged now. It would be a mistake to try to just write this out and scroll over a little bit. And reiterating as needed. Iterating as needed. That might be a misspelling there. It can help make opening up full time and fall much easier. Again, Virginia accurate. I can respond if we're ready. So those who wrote, your sentiment is obvious. It's definitely acknowledged. This is a special board meeting focused on the reappointment of staff members, so I can't give as detailed response as I would normally give, because I would then be taking this away from what the special meeting was advertised for. What I can share, just very briefly, is that we have not given up on our opening. We have a meeting scheduled with our departments of health to check in, as we told you during our phase 3, 4, and 5 updates, that we're checking in with our departments of health to see what our community spread that is trending, the trajectory. Remember that our county is now yellow, as many of you have stated, which makes it a moderate spread. Doesn't make it zero spread. Our departments of health have very granular township information. They can show us those trends, and we're still working. We're ecstatic that we have all of our grade levels in for those families who felt comfortable returning to in person. We've been visiting schools, visiting the classrooms, and everyone is extremely excited. But we're still being cautious because we're still in a health crisis, right? And we have to make sure that we remember that those folks who reached out to us for our wait list, they're now in our schools. We're excited to be able to grant that. But each of these wait approvals is based on the space, the design, the room being available, transportation. It's a tedious process that we're undertaking for every student who decides to come back as their parents select in person. So we're excited that we haven't given up, but we're also going to make sure we're still vigilant. And I know that some statements were made about other districts taking further steps along. And someone said in here that every district is different, and I can't emphasize that enough. Every district has different buildings, they have different grounds, they have different land around the buildings, they have smaller districts, smaller schools, bigger schools. All those things have to be considered. Here's an example. One district that was cited had 35% of their families opting for. We're above 70%. Intensive, much more crowded. And again, I don't want to go deep. This is not why we have this meeting. We surely appreciate the sentiment, and we'll have more information coming soon. And we're meeting again with the departments of health. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Dr. Taylor. Mr. Gershel, can you just report for the record that Board Member Wright has joined us? I just want to get that in there. Thank you. And before I make this motion, Ms. Butler, we talked about the proper numbering. So I'll be moving forward 4136 and 4138. Is that right? And then we're going to do a hand carry for 4137.
That's correct. 4136 is reappointment. 4138 is reorganization, and 4137 is the hand carry.
Okay, so I'll bring forward the even number ones, and when it comes to the hand carry, I will read that out into the public before I move that forward. So it's
okay.
Everyone has it. Okay. Making a motion to bring forward resolutions 4136 and 4138 for discussion. I have a second.
Aye.
Thank you. I think it was Board Member Malaspina. All in favor? All right, that was unanimous, Mr. Gershel. Obviously, these are personnel related, so we do have to be very careful. That said, is there any discussion on items 4136 and 4138? Seeing none, I'll close discussion on those two motions. And Mr. Gershel, can you please take the roll for 4136 and 4138?
Sorry, from resolution number 4136 and 4138. Okay. Board Member Susan Bergen,
Yes.
Board Member Shannon Cuttle,
We didn't hear you. You're muted.
we didn't hear you, Ms.
I'm trying to catch up and I'm trying to catch up and I'm trying to catch up and find where the resolution is. Thank you.
Do you have it?
No, I'm trying to, I'm trying to find it. One of my open windows.
4136 is the reappointment list, and 4138 is the reorganization resolution, which doesn't have a number on the website, but we realize it needs a number because it's a separate action.
So, I'm sorry, to clarify, President Joshua, this is not the hand carry item, correct? Isn't that-
No, 4138 is not a hand carry. This is the reorganization resolutions.
Okay, so the 4138, which is not, okay, so maybe that's, my apologies. So I'm looking at the
It's not
website.
numbered as 4138. It is the reorganization resolutions 1 through 48, that PDF.
Right. Okay, so I would want to sever 4138 is what I would want to have done.
Okay, Ms. Butler, is it too late since we've started calling the roll? Do I need to withdraw the motion?
If you want to entertain the severance, yes, you'd have to withdraw the motion because you've already started voting on it.
I'm sorry, I was really trying to go through my tabs.
I
All
will
right.
second the motion to sever.
Thank you. All right, I'll withdraw. I have to just withdraw it. That's going to be faster. I'll withdraw the motion.
Sorry.
Wait, so let me just clarify, Ms. Muller, we're now all the way back at the beginning. Am I bringing them all forward for discussion again? Because I closed discussion. I'm
Yes.
just trying to figure out how to do this.
Yes, and just bring them forward separately
All right,
as 4136.
Okay.
Discuss and vote, and then 4138, discuss and vote.
thank you. Okay, bringing forward a motion for 4136 for discussion. Can I have a second?
Okay.
Thank you, Board Member Mousemeat. All in favor? All right, that's a unanimous, Ms. Del Garcia. Any discussion on 4136? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close discussion of 4136. Ms. Del Garcia,
Oh.
can you please call the roll?
Okay, for resolution number 4136, Board Member Susan Bergen,
Yes.
Board Member Shannon Cuttle.
Yes.
Board Member Zaire Joshua,
Yes.
Board Member Anne Marie Manny,
Yes.
Board Member Alyssa Malaspina,
No.
Board Member Erin Siders,
Yes.
Board Member Courtney Winkfield,
Yes.
Board Member Johanna Wright,
No.
Board Member Kamal Zubieta.
No.
Okay, motion passed 6-3. Thank you.
Thank you. Bringing forward motion 4138 for discussion, or I guess, yeah, I have a second.
Aye.
Well, let's just, okay, yeah, 4138. Thank you, Board Member Malspina. All in favor? All right, any discussion on 4138? Again, a reminder that this is personnel related. And seeing none,
4138 is the
close-
reorganization.
Right, okay, Board Member Cottle.
I defer to Miss Butler. I'm not really sure how to be appropriate in my potential question or comment that you previously might be aware of that was brought up. I guess what I'm asking is that within the resolution itself, for a discussion on potential realigning appointment of a potential district individual, and I'm not sure how to bring that up or if that's appropriate.
I believe the discussion by the end of the meeting was that was not recommended. My recollection may be off.
I had to step away from the discussion because I had to fulfill my a training requirement. So
That is correct. The final termination was that the agenda item will remain as is. If I found it, I apologize. If I was strange.
okay, so I guess I'm not sure how to really proceed then. So if there was an agreement to that, can that,
Let me jump in. So basically, we decided, I'll tread lightly, but we decided that severing individual reorganization resolutions wasn't in the overall best interest, but you're free to make a separate decision when it's time for us to bring it forward for a vote.
So I'm confused also. That sort of, I
Go
guess,
ahead, Board Member Malaspina.
sorry. I guess I'm confused also because that sort of contradicted what was said in our previous discussion. We are allowed to sever some.
It sounded like we were, so I'm sorry to cut you. I think I got the gist of the question, that there was a certain concern, I think we're all aware of, that we decided that it was, when we were talking about specific item numbers, that even with the recommendation would be to leave it as is, and that's my recollection.
That is what Dr. Taylor said literally at the end of the meeting, was that the recommendation would be the same, would stay the same as it appears now.
I think for this point, this is one agenda item, right? You can't sever throughout the organizational chart. I think is what the question was. 413A.
I guess my question was, and maybe I can explain it a little better, is that could we say, like, and hypothetically, all hypothetically here, that, I would like to sever number 13 on the thing, or,
Yeah, I don't think we can. So what was the confusing thing that we had is that we didn't, at the beginning of the discussion, we realized that it didn't have a number, right? Which is how we ended up with, and that goes to board member Cuddles, I think, initial confusion that when we brought forward the motion, that it didn't have a number attached to it. At that point, we did discuss, is it easy to, can you do that? And it sounded like the answer was no, because it's all one resolution. And I think that was the initial point about severing it as a whole, was because it didn't have a number, and that it, in years past, when this meeting was rolled into a larger meeting where we had more than just reorganizational agenda items, that was the way it was done. So it sounded, the way I left the session, my understanding was that this would have its own number, but we could not, sort of line item veto, if you will. Ms. Butler, please correct me or anyone else if they understood differently, but that's how I left the meeting.
That's how I believe it was left at the end of executive.
okay, so my understanding was when I had to step away to fulfill an obligation as a board member and then step back in, that was not the case. So that's why I raised it now. My understanding was that was a something that could be raised and something that could be asked potentially to be considered. So that's why I'm raising it now, or why I did.
Ms. Butler, is it possible for me, I'm just, frankly, I'm tired of circling circles. Can we just adjourn to exec for 5 minutes to hash this out and come back in public? Is that something we can do? Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss matters of personnel. Can I have a second? Thank you, Board Member Mandy. I'll see you all in exec. Thanks. We'll be back certainly public. Apologies for the delay. Andrew, after I read this, it's gonna be posted. Is that the way it works?
As soon as you read it, I'll get it posted.
Okay, thanks. Because,
All right.
all right. Waiting on board member Cuddle. Apologies to the public. Will resume in a couple minutes. Mr. Bonds, can you contact board member Cuddle about rejoining the meeting? Thank you. All right, in the meantime, Mr. Bonds, are we back on the record?
Yes, we're back on the record.
All right, Ms. Ogesho, can you call the roll for us returning to public session at 9:16 p.m.?
Board Member Susan Bergen,
Here.
Board Member Shannon Cuttle,
Technical difficulties will be rejoining shortly.
okay. Student Representative Liz Foreman,
Here.
Board Member Thayer Joshua,
Here.
Board Member Anne Marie Manny,
Here.
Board Member Alyssa Malaspina,
Here.
Board Member Erin Siders,
Here.
Board Member Courtney Winkfield,
Here.
Board Member Johanna Wright,
Present.
Board Member Kamal Zubieta.
Here.
Okay. Just waiting on Board Member Cuttle.
Great, thank you. I'd like to, we left off with a motion where I brought forward 4138 for discussion. I'd like to withdraw that motion.
Second.
Thank
Do
you,
we have to
Board Member
second?
Manny. I don't know. Do we do? Okay, we do. So thank you, Board Member Manny. All in favor, I guess?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous, Mr. Gershel. Thank you. We'll now move forward with bringing forward hand-carried resolution 4137. Allow me to read this into the record. Resolution 4137 for action. The subject is to award contract for renovations and additions to Clinton and Jefferson Elementary Schools. Be it resolved that the Board of Education awards the contract for renovations and additions to Clinton and Jefferson Elementary Schools to DMD Contracting LLC of Wayne, New Jersey for the following amount. The base bid is $22,320,000. Alternate AB-03, which is $60,000. Alternate AB-04 for $30,000. For a total of $22,410,000. As a matter of background information, solicitation for bids was issued on March 11th, 2021, and received on April 28th, 2021. Bid packages were requested by 22 companies and return by 11. Ms. Delgado, do I need to read through all these bids, or should I just go to the bottom where it says the bids were reviewed by legal counsel and the acting business administrator?
No need to read.
Okay. I'd like to now
Correct.
bring forward 4137 for discussion. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Board Member Malaspino. All in favor? Thank you. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, closing this discussion on 4137. Ms. Delgado, can you please call the roll this time in reverse alphabetical order?
Oh. Okay, reverse.
Messed her up there.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Just trying to get back on track. This is our new way of life, so.
I didn't know you did it in reverse. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, we
in
gotta
reverse,
switch it up.
keeping me on my toes. Board Member Kamal Zubieta.
Yes.
Board Member Johanna Wright.
Yes.
Board Member Courtney Winkfield.
Yes.
Board Member Erin Siders.
Yes.
Board Member Alyssa Malaspina.
Yes.
Board Member Anne Marie Manny.
Yes.
Board Member Thayer Joshua.
Yes,
Board Member Shannon Cuttle. She didn't make it in. Okay.
they
And
didn't make it back yet.
they did not make it in. And Board Member Susan Bergen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been a long time. We are, but we're still on the way. That's 2 down. We've got 4 to go. We look forward to seeing more of these in the coming weeks and months.
Board President,
Okay, yes, that's it.
Board Member Cuddle is on dialed in.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. I believe we're now at the part of the meeting for our second public speaks. Ms. Bonds, do we have any additional public speaks for this evening?
Yes, there's one additional comment.
Okay, that, it should be on the same sheet, right?
Same sheet, yeah.
All right, let me, I will pull that up, so bear with me 1 second. Oh,
Actually, no, this comment was read the last.
It was read.
Session. Yeah, so you're okay.
Okay, and that was the Regina Eckert?
That's correct.
Correct. Okay, so there are no more public speaks for this evening. To confirm. Thank you. That concludes our second public speaks for this evening. We'll now move on to new business. Does anyone have any new business for this evening? Yes, Board Member Siders.
Hello. I would like to have a discussion on converting a standing board committee into a committee of the whole. A committee of the whole would mean that all board members would be the member of that committee. And the committee that I am proposing for that is the C&I committee. I have a few notes here.
Well,
Yes.
I think, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought
Yep.
you were finished.
Okay, no, not finished. The reason why I'm proposing this for the C&I committee is that there is a lot of information that comes to the committee that I think would be beneficial for the other board members to hear. I did try to send a particular presentation to other board members, I think it was last week or the week before, and I did receive feedback from board members that it was great that they had the presentation, but it was missing the speak over. The C&I committee gets a lot of presentations in particular about items that eventually come to the board for approval because they have a financial impact. But the rest of the board has to make decisions on whether or not to pass these initiatives, but the board doesn't receive the presentation and receive the information that is needed in order to make these decisions. And some of the presentations that he and I have seen that I think have been beneficial was a presentation on Star Renaissance and Teachers College. We received a presentation from Dr. Dean Folks, I think it was in January, and it was a really good presentation, just talking about, giving us background about the process and how it works in our district. We have a CNI meeting tomorrow, and we're going to be giving a presentation on ESS, which is the Effective School Solutions Program that's at Columbia High School. Once again, that's going to be information that is pertinent and important that I think that the rest of the board members should have access to that information. We're also going to be discussing the summer school plan, and we have some detailed information about what's being proposed for our summer school plan. Once again, that information resides in CNI. It is not shared with the rest of the board. And I think historically, CNI has been a committee that's been challenging for the board. And it's difficult to make these decisions and for these decisions to reside on the shoulders of 4 board members when it really needs the dedication and the input of all board members.
All right, thanks. As you know, I think my initial reaction is that it just sounds like more work for all of us at a time when some of us are returning to more, not something, we talked about our children returning to school. Some of us are potentially going back into the office, and some of the flexibility we currently have may decrease going forward. That said, just trying to think through it, what we could do. That's how I'm gonna come to you 1 second. I just want to finish this thought.
Sorry, Dr. Taylor, I could not understand
Oh.
you.
Yeah, no, he asked, could we have this conversation? It was part of new business, so I thought new business could be generally anything, but you let me know.
It's pretty open-ended.
Okay. My initial thought is, that's more work for everybody, but I'm curious to hear others. I see Board Member Mouse being his hand, so I'll go there next. And then Board Member Manning.
I guess I have
No.
a question and a comment. My comment is I think that we need to be as open and transparent as possible. So I am all in favor of anything that would make the meeting open and transparent. If going to a committee of a whole will allow that to happen, I am in favor of it. As a member of CNI, I do agree. As a board, we are siloed, and there's a lot of information that comes through this committee that I think would be very helpful for everybody to be involved in and have discussions with. I am in favor of doing everything possible to allow all board members to have the information, but also to allow the public to have the information. So I guess my question is, by going to this manner, would that allow for the public to be involved in being able to participate or see the presentation?
Yeah, they would. My understanding from, the conversations I've had about a committee as a whole, that it's basically a board meeting, but we just discuss the items that the committee would typically discuss. So it's not a situation, and obviously if it's committee at whole, there's 9 of us, we're all there, it has to be public. This isn't a thing where there's 2, 3, or 4. So yes, that's the short answer is yes. It would be just another meeting we all have to attend. So, I'll stop there. I'll go to Emery. You do not have a comment?
No,
Okay,
I do.
so
It's,
okay, I just wanted Board Member
yeah, but
Manning.
these,
Wakefield, Zubieta. I just want to get
So-
that order. Go ahead.
So these meetings, we did not notice new business, and that's what Dr. Taylor's point was, is that this agenda doesn't have a new business on.
The one I'm looking at does. I'm looking at the one on the website, and it does say new business.
Maybe I looked at last year's? You're sure?
Yeah, I'm looking at May 10th, 2021, and right out, it says new business right above my announcement about the closed session on the May 17th.
Oh, all the way down there, perfect,
Yeah, because the
Perfect, okay.
schedules and agendas gets in the way. That's how I missed the subject public
perfect,
speak.
perfect, all right.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I mean, I appreciate Board Member Zubieta's point about how many committee meetings can we all go to and who would feel that they had the time to participate. I tried to do CNI as a committee of the whole last year or 2 years ago, so I think everyone knows where I stand on that, but.
Thank you. Board Member Wakefield and then Zubieta.
Yep, just as a CNI committee member, I wholeheartedly support Board Member Sider's suggestion and think I would love to collaborate with the entire board around some of the problems that we are weighing in on and trying to solve in CNI. And I think the more context we can all share as a board, the better we'll be positioned to be able to act with intention.
Thank you. Board Member Zubieta.
This is a question for Ms. Butler. If these were noticed as public meetings, so when we did a few FFT meetings, and I don't think they were noticed as public meetings, they were just noticed as an invitation that the public could come but not participate, i.e. there was no public speaks. So if we do a committee by the whole and it's a proper public board meeting, would there be public speaks?
Yes.
And then the second question is, I will talk about my own personal circumstances. I am now studying for a master's degree, and many of my courses are at night, and I shouldn't say I wouldn't be able to attend. I might not be able to attend based on my class schedule. But I know that there are certain rules that are in our policies that say a board member can only miss this many meetings consecutively or this many total, and there's a bunch of rules, and those rules are good. But I'm worried that if the rules change midterm, and I didn't know that those were the rules, then I feel that it wouldn't be justified to penalize members for not being able to attend committee meetings that they were not originally assigned to, because I do have every intention of serving my term the way I promised to the public, but I can't promise to let go of a master's program. So I just wanted to make that clear, that I do think that there should be grace and latitude, because and that frankly that should be, if there is a resolution, that should be in the future, that should be included in the resolution, that there would not be a penalty for for members who were not originally assigned to CNI. Because honestly, I think I would be penalized, and I think it would be a pity, because I was elected to perform certain duties that I'm still willing to perform.
Okay, thanks, Kamal. So just to be clear, that policy says for without just cause. And I think whether, attending a class or, board member kind of had to step out for a mandated training, or, someone else has any other obligation that you know of and it's spoken of in advance, I think those are all, quote, just cause, right? I don't think that policy we have is to sort of prevent people from just shirking our responsibilities without any sort of reason. And that's not what we're talking about here, when people legitimately have to miss, board meetings, to attend to other more important stuff, frankly, right? Yesterday was Mother's Day, so belated Mother's Day to the 7 of you up here, of my colleagues, right? Like, if we had a meeting on Mother's Day, I wouldn't expect any of you to come. And I think it would probably be my last meeting, because I'd have to go home and explain to my wife why I had a meeting on Mother's Day. So that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about situations that there's no sort of advance notice, where there's no reasoning, there's just not showing up. And I think, just to close it, you know, that's a good reason. So leave it there. You don't feel like you'd be penalized if you couldn't attend a meeting because you were attending a class and furthering your education. You'd be setting a horrible example for our students by doing that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Courtney, I see that, but I presume that's from the previous comment. Board Member Cuddle, I know you're on I can't see you because you're on via phone. I just want to, as a CNI member, if you had any comments you wanted to share.
Thank you, President Joshua. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Bonds, as we speak, is trying to do his magic on the computer. Yes, so I just wanted to also share my support for the potential consideration of moving the CNI committee to a meeting of the whole. I echo my other CNI colleagues that there's a lot of important information and wonderful depth of information that comes to our committee and presentations that would be beneficial to our group of 9 as a whole. And the amount of information and considerations that come forward would be beneficial to the multitude of voices of all of us. So I think it would be to the betterment of our district and our community to consider to move the CNI committee to a committee as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Bergen.
Thank you, President Joshua, and thank you, Board Member Siders, for this suggestion. As someone who's not on CNI, I really appreciate this idea because I feel like there's a lot of information that I don't have firsthand that happens in CNI that affects so many of the things we do. And I think we can think about it. I know we've talked a lot about trying to figure out how to make our regularly scheduled monthly meetings shorter and how to make things work better. And I think we can think about CNI being a committee as a whole and how that could affect our regularly scheduled monthly meeting in a way that could make things more manageable if it can take like a piece of that, make those meetings a little bit shorter and more streamlined because everyone is at the CNI meeting getting things the first time around at the same time.
Thank you, Board Member Bergen. Any other comments on this before I chime in and then move on? All right, I guess I don't want to say hesitation, but I guess to Board Member Bergen's point is that I guess I am struggling to see how taking a committee of 4 people and making it a committee of 9 people is going to make at least that meeting shorter. And then how does that then make a regularly board meeting shorter? I'm open to discussion. I just think that, let's continue to think about it, and anyone who has, pros and cons, please email the executive committee about them. I just think that, like I said, it's, to be fair, more work for the 5 of us that are not on that committee right now versus the 4 who are. But, maybe there's a way around that. We can, maybe we, just thinking through, there's 3 other committees and there's 9 of us. So maybe we reorganize those so that there's only 3 each and everyone has CNI and another committee. Maybe that's a way we could do it so that it becomes a more manageable load than giving, someone 3 committees, right? So maybe that's something I can think about. Dr. Taylor.
One thought on one of our first, perhaps
You're a little choppy, Dr. Taylor. Can you yeah.
me now? No.
Yes.
Try, yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So if we were able to record the meetings, record the CNI meeting and share that, that would give voice to the artifacts that the chair is sharing. It's just it doesn't impact me negatively either way. I'm just trying to think of, to save the time that for folks who have obligations, we could try that as a pilot in between the board of the whole. Whatever the board needs to function well, the SOT and I are here to make that work. That's just offering another suggestion.
That's an interesting one, Dr. Taylor. Thank you. I guess my concern would then be, someone's got to dedicate the 4 hours to watch it versus the 4 hours to be there. So I just wonder what would, and again, I guess it then becomes optional, right? So, it's something we should consider. And obviously, we're not voting on anything tonight. We're just having a good discussion. But I do think that's a good point. Okay, so I see Alyssa, and then I saw, let's see, Board Member Malaspina, and then Board Member Manny. Go ahead, Board Member Malaspina.
I mean, I thank you, Dr. Taylor, for that suggestion, but my concern is not only that the board members see this, that, are participating in this, which I believe that they should be, but also that the public is participating and understands, because I think there's a lot that goes on in this committee that the public should be a part of. So by videotaping it or something like that, if we're not disseminating it to them, also that would be an issue with me personally. But I do think I'm happy to hear that we're having this discussion, but I don't want it to continue. We've been having this discussion for like an iteration of this discussion for months and months and months now. And I think it's about time that in the near future, we finally make a decision on how we are going to do things, because of the long nights and in general, just the fact that I believe we need to be as transparent as possible.
Thank you, Board Member Malaspina. I think I guess just to clarify, the public participation would just be limited to public speaks again, as it is at one of these meetings. I just want to clarify that for those who just want to make sure that point is clear. Go ahead, Board Member Manny.
So just to add to this conversation, as we're thinking about this, part of it is that curriculum and instruction has so much in it, and we don't follow through operationally on the programs that we implement. So that's one big bucket of things. Then you have the whole curriculum is another bucket, and then you have instructional practices that are also being covered, plus special ed, right? So it might be that the committee itself needs to be streamlined a little bit as we move forward.
Understood. Thank you. Any other comments on this one? Board Members Zebia.
This is a question for Ms. Manny. You said, I think everybody knows how I feel on that, but I actually don't know. So if you could.
No, I was just being snarky. Because I proposed it 2 years ago, I assume people knew that.
Oh, okay. So so what you were saying is you're in favor of having a committee of the whole for CNI. Oh, okay, great.
Thank you. Any other comments on this conversation?
Could it be considered that if we move to this protocol for CNI, I know at other places that I've had conversations, there were different rules for ad hoc committees, right? And there were also for meetings of the whole that were committee driven, there were different policies perhaps, or what's the other word I'm looking for? Different guidance that the board approved that were in place for a board of the whole committee meeting versus a board meeting where actionable items are going to be presented. I'm not sure if there's a different way to put in our bylaws to capture it, right? Because the new business and some of those things that are a part of the board meeting, even two public speaks, perhaps if you're having a committee meeting, you only have one public speaks, and some of those things, if we're going to move forward with this, just some of the thoughts that I have around rethinking and formally making a difference between the committee meetings and the public meetings, for that reason, just to, to make them more streamlined, perhaps.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Taylor. I do think, we've, since we've been having this conversation, I've been looking at what some other boards do and, just general meeting cadence, et cetera. I know Randolph has their education committee as a board of the whole, and it's I presume that's going to be somewhat similar to what we're talking about right now. So that's probably a good place to start in terms of how they operate, just getting some ideas. I don't think, I guess my goal is to just have the conversation, and then what I don't want to do is just say, let's do it without any sort of framework. So I think it would have to be a combination of, not only are we going to do it, but how we're going to do it. And I think we need to have those two discussions in sort of unison before we, I guess, come to a vote on that. So that's something that we look to have going forward, and then have a vote on, if we're going to have a vote on this, it'd be in the near future. We're meeting next week, so it could be then. And then even if we can even vote on to do it, and then give another month or so to work out the how before we actually start transitioning to it. Maybe that's, finish out the school year and then think about it for the summer and start there. I'm literally just thinking as we talk. So I'll stop now because that's all I have to say about it.
President Joshua, if I can just
Yes.
jump in, if you're going to do it where you're going to be changing bylaws or changing policies, don't forget you've got the 2 reading issue. So that's
Correct.
2 months meetings.
That's correct. Right. Thank you. Any other comments on this topic? Okay, I'm going to close that discussion. Any other new business? All right, seeing none, I'll close new business. The Board of Education will meet in closed session Monday, May 17th at 6:30 p.m. Via the online video conference platform to discuss personnel, legal issues, negotiations, and other matters that will be announced at a later date. Immediately following the closed session, the Board of Education will be in a special public session at 7:30 p.m. using the online video conference platform. The community can view the meeting by following the steps which will be listed on the agenda. Action will be taken. Can I have a second? I'm sorry, I couldn't see any hands because I screened. All right.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All right.
Aye.
Thank you all. It is 9:47 p.m. Monday, May 10th. Have a wonderful evening and see you all soon. Take care and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Stay
night.
safe, everyone.
Good night, everybody.